Hi folks, welcome to another instalment of Behind the Wheel. I'm Matthew, I'm one of the curators at the National Motor Museum. And today for you we have a 34 Ford Coupe Ute hot rod. Now clearly you can see it's a hot rod, it's not in standard form, but it's based on the 1934 Ford Coupe Utility. The Coupe Utility is a fairly important piece of Australian motoring history. The obvious reason why it's called a Coupe Utility is it has a coupe roof with a utility rear end. The story goes that a lady wrote to the Ford Motor Company and said, we've got a farm, during the week we need to move cattle and produce around, and on the weekends we go to church. We want a vehicle that can do both. The story goes that that was handed to a chap called Lew Bandt, who was the designer of the Coupe Ute, and he came up with this design. Whether that's quite the real story or whether it was an economic issue is possibly more to the point, because you've got to remember you were coming out of the Depression and people couldn't afford to buy two vehicles for many uses. So having one that could do both was very sensible. The major claim to fame about it being a coupe utility is this panel here. And this panel is an integral panel and runs the length of the tray bed. The American system, which is a pickup, generally means it's chopped through here and the tray is separate to the cab of the vehicle. But in this case, it was all one pressing all the way through. As you can see, it's a hot rod. It's clearly got different wheels. The stance of the vehicle is different. Under the hood should be, or under the bonnet, should be a flathead Ford V8 engine. It isn't in this case, and Nigel will explain some more about it. So there it is in all its glory. Yep. Back, forward, yep. Okay folks, we're back here with Nigel. Now Nigel's going to explain a little bit about the Coupe Ute's hot rod features.
How are you, mate?
I'm good, Nigel.
That's good. So this Ford Coupe hot rod originally would have had a flat top V8 in it, but this one's actually been converted to have a 318 Chrysler in it with a 3-speed torque flight push button transmission in it. As you can see, there's not an awful lot of room. She's fairly well shoehorned.
Very tight.
Very much shoehorned into the front of the car. It also runs a big 9-inch Ford differential in the rear as well. Disc brake front end, drum brake rear. It's actually not a bad little cruiser on the road, so we've had a couple of little drives. She ticks along quite nice, sounds very good as well, so maybe we should actually go for a little spin in it. What do you reckon, mate?
Sounds a good idea to me, Nigel.
Let's do it. We're off.
Okay, off and here we go. Okay, let's have a look over the front. Oh, look at that, that's pretty neat.
Not a lot of room in the front.
No. So this hot rod was built, I believe, in the early 70s by a chap in Sydney. And it's probably what you'd call a second generation hot rod, from the first generation being the old souped up jalopy. This is definitely no jalopy. He spent quite a bit of time and effort in engineering various features. What's it like to drive, Nige?
It's a little bit bouncy. The steering's a little bit loose.
Right.
And the brakes are extremely hard, but we think we know why that is the case.
So it's got a HR Holden front end on it. So it's got the almighty disc brake rather than drum brakes, which should help it to... There's not a lot of room in here, so unfortunately folks, so you're kind of seeing bits of footage. Not a lot of... So I've got it back as far as we practically can with Nige here. What's the chassis dynamics like, Nige? Lively?
It actually steers quite nicely. It's kind of not all over the road.
Right.
Pretty straight.
So obviously you're getting the power of a 1960s, 1950s Chrysler V8 in the middle of all of this when you're talking about a 1934 Ford. So it's quite a bit faster than the old 34 Fords with the flathead.
more you drive it, the smoother she gets.
Well, that's a good thing.
So,
All right, folks, so we will leave it at that. Thank you again for watching Behind the Wheel, and we'll catch you on the other side.
see you everybody.
See you later.